Hi there, I hope you can see me. The weather outside is just dreadful. But thankfully I am not in an area of flooding, so thank you all for your concerns. But if I flood, there's a lot of people in trouble because I'm at the top of a hill. I'm nowhere near a river, thank goodness, but it's been devastating up here in the northwest. As well as other places, of course, Cumbria and places. It's just been awful. Awful. I mean, I did get told off on Facebook for saying charity begins at home. I got a long rampage from somebody who said, you know, we've got the national health, we've got this, we've got so much things to become, you know, thankful for. People don't have homes, this, that and the other. I'm sorry, but at the moment I'm just concentrating on my little corner of the world because, you know, a lot of people have been devastated. A lot of people haven't got insurance because they were flooded about 2 years ago, and a lot of the insurance companies don't cover them for flood anymore because they've been flooded already. So it's just not good news, is it? Not a good way to start their new year, without a home, without anything. So I know I'm terribly sorry for all the people in Syria and everything like that, but I'm concentrating at the moment on the people who live near me that are in trouble. Anyway, upon that dreary note and the fact that there's more rain falling and there's gale force winds predicted for some parts of the northwest, just hope my roof stays on. Anyway, I hope you had a nice Christmas. I had a quietish one. I went to my sister-in-law's, it is now, because my poor brother passed away, as you know. And we had Christmas Day dinner there, and we were entertained by a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And the 3-year-old was well into the mood of Christmas. The 1-year-old was slightly overwhelmed, but the 3-year-old was well into it, telling us all what to do and everything. And he had a tabletop stage with curtains that drew. And then he'd also got finger puppets with a story. So we got entertained by the original story, which was the gingerbread man. You know, run as fast as you can't run away from me, I'm the gingerbread man or something. So he did all that. But I forgot to tell you that he also got a guitar or a ukulele or whatever it was, and he got a harmonica. So before he drew the curtains back, we had to play the hello music. We were going hello, hello, how's everybody, hello, hello, hello. Then he did the little puppets with the help of his auntie. Did all the puppet show with the gingerbread men. And then they all took bows, and then he drew the curtains, and then he had to play the goodbye song, you know. So then my niece, who's a teacher, well, she's a head teacher now, but she's a teacher, she said, we can do Red Riding Hood. We get, his sister had got this little doll, what's it called? Not Eagle Pit, oh, I don't know. One of these little dolls anyway, it's part of the night garden. And so she put a piece of red, shiny, you know, Christmas wrapping paper around it. And that was Little Red Riding Hood, and we had to pretend that the little old lady from the gingerbread man was Grandma. And the fox from the gingerbread man, we had to pretend it was the wolf. And the little old man from the gingerbread man, we had to pretend it was the woodcutter. So we did all the story from the woodcutter, the Little Red Riding Hood and the woodcutter and everything. So then we did the hello music, the goodbye music, and then he said, right, everybody has to leave now. You all have to go. So he opens the door to the hallway, and he wanted us all to leave. He said, because it's a theatre and the show's over, and if people stay here, they're going to expect another show, and I'm not doing another show. So of course his daddy said, no, we don't have to leave, like, you know, we're quite happy here. So then what did he do? But he dismantled the theatre bit by bit. What are you doing that for? Because if that's there, people are going to expect another show, and there isn't going to be one. Right, that's very logical for a 3-year-old. So we did have a good time. Took away a lot of the sadness, you know, for my sister-in-law. You can't be sad when there's children about, can you? Yeah, I was a bit sad Christmas morning, of course, comes downstairs and I haven't got Buster anymore, you know. So it was sad. But I won't show you many of my Christmas presents, I'll just show you a couple. My niece knows me so well. Purple slippers. Yay! I love purple slippers. Haven't used them yet, I'm waiting while the other ones do. And then my other friend made me a mug. And you know who's on it? Now I know people collect mugs from all over the place. Coffee mugs, God knows what mugs. This means so much more to me than 100 of those. Because it was made with love, made specially for me. And I absolutely adore it. I wouldn't swap it for any amount of coffee mugs from promoting. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit what's it, because you know I don't believe in slogans on t-shirts, things like that promote businesses. They're just making money out of us, getting us to buy things with slogans written on them. All it is free advertising for them, so why should we have to buy it? That's my opinion anyway. So what else did I get? Oh, I got this through the post. It's another old magazine, old book, so I got it second hand. It's Weekend Casuals to Crochet by George Shaheen. I showed you a book by George Shaheen the other week that had a grey sweater on it with a cable across the front. Well, I like this one on the front. I know it's got stripes, but the stripes are on the sleeves, so being fluffy, they're not across my body, you know what I mean? They're on the sleeves, so I don't mind if it makes my sleeves a bit wider. I'll have fatter arms, I don't care. That one's called The Green Goddess. That's another plainish one. I quite like plainish sweaters for like everyday use for myself. So it'd be more likely to be me that's getting use out of this book. This one's called Spring Parfait. It's a little short sleeve sweater or whatever, sleeveless isn't it, with a scarf. That I may not make because it's a little bit on the thick side to me for a short sleeve one. That one isn't too bad, I suppose, even though it's a thicker one. It's still short sleeves. Now that one I don't mind even though it's sleeveless because it's nice and chunky and it would go lovely over one of my long sleeve dresses. Might make it a touch longer though. Don't like things that stop across the widest part of me. And I quite like that one. It's called Soft Teak. I don't know whether you can see it or not. It's a bit of a hard colour to see. It's got like shells at the top and plain bits at the bottom. So that's quite pretty. Although it is a little bit thick. You know, you can see the letter on the back. A little bit thick in short sleeves for wearing summer-wise. Although I don't know. Not with our summers. I don't know. My shoulder on personal level is, well, has been killing me. I've still got my support on, my neoprene support. I'm going to try to get an appointment with the GP. Although just after Christmas it's going to be like getting an audience with the Pope, isn't it? I'm going to try. I've got to go up today anyway, so I'm going to try to see if I can get an appointment. See what I've done. My niece listened to all of my ailments and she decided she thinks it's tendinitis, which it could be. You know, we're dangerous, aren't we, with Google, you know. By the time we finish Googling everything, we think we've got leprosy or something, you know. But tendinitis did sound what it was because it gets worse when I lie on it at night, which tendinitis does. And it's all the way down my arm and it's actually on my wrist now that I can't hold anything that way up. Can't even hold a cup that way up or a plate that way up. So it hurts me too much. So crocheting's been a bit of a minimum, you know. I did start myself a cardigan. It's with some Sirdar soft cotton Aran. Guess what colour? Changed from purple though, it's lilac, isn't it? Oh, whatever. And that's what I've done so far. Which way up is it? That, no, that way up. Had to think. I'm not that fat, by the way. It's supposed to be all the way around. Although I've got my doubts, I think I might have to put a broad band on that, because I think I'm a little bit fluffier. I'll show you the pattern. I'd remembered the pattern, I couldn't remember where I'd seen it. And it wasn't in a book that I would have expected to have been in. It's Crochet Gifts by Kim Worker, which is W-E-R-K-E-R, Kim Worker. And it's there, but I'm not going to put the frilly sleeves on it. I'm just going to make normal sleeves, because I like being a bit unusual, but I don't really want frilly sleeves. I had me fill of that red sweater the other day with the frilly sleeves when I got caught up on everything I passed by. I spent half my time going woo, woo, trying to get myself off doorknobs, everything. Yeah. Well, I've been fortunate in the position that a lot of people have given me lots and lots of yarn, which I'm very, very thankful for. So in order to pay it forward, I've been using some of my yarn. I'm making hats. This blue was donated to me from an old lady's stash. I think she passed away actually. So it was blue fluffy, so I made 2 blue hats. As you can see, they've come out big, but I'm hoping that the homeless will either have lots of hair or a bigger head. These are made up with, that was a dark green and a lime green that I used together to make a chunkier warm hat. And this is actually 3 colours. It's the same lime green, the same dark green, but it's also got a bit of rust introduced into it. So I've got ideas. I'm going to get the Addy machine out, you know, and crank out a few scarves or something with all the bits and bobs I've got in the garage. I need to get my stash down, and a lot of it is half balls, part balls, balls of acrylic and stuff like that that are in my garage. So the wool that was gifted to me, I'm probably not going to use unless there were oddments that got gifted to me. I will maybe use the odd ones, but if you have given me lots, you know, a big amount, then it'll be used for me. I have sort of like a rule: if anything has been given to me, I use it for me, yeah, you know. Does it sound reasonable? Unless it's an oddball, I don't mind using that for my charity. I'm making a baby coat. It looks a bit frilly, but it's just not been blocked out yet. Again, this is some oddment of some wool I found in the garage. I'm not sure what it was, what it is, except it's acrylic. The white was in the same bag as the blue that I got donated from an old lady. So I'm using that for a couple of more baby cardigans. In it was the back of a sweater, but it was in mohair. And I couldn't undo it, for the life of me, couldn't undo it, so I sewed it together. And I've crocheted a little bit on the edge. So it's going to have black buttons there. So it's going to be a nice warm neck warmer for somebody. I'm sure they won't bother that it was once the back of a sweater rolled up. It makes it really, really thick though, because it's like 3 thicknesses, because I just rolled it, yeah. Because I was thinking, what can I make? What can I do with it? It was too long to make a hat. I absolutely could not undo it, because you don't know what it's like. It sticks to itself. So that was what I decided to do. So I've got to sew buttons on it, along with sewing the buttons on the pink cardigan. So that's really what I'm up to at the moment, because my shoulder's absolutely killing me. And so I've got to choose some. These are how I keep my buttons. Don't know if you can see or not. They're in. I've got containers like this in the garage with all the buttons in. So I just reached out the white ones, because I've no doubt been doing that big ball of wool will probably make another couple of baby cardigans, or slightly bigger. Because not only are the homeless, the charity that I give to, not only do the homeless, they also do, you know, the women's refuge centres. battered wives or destitute wives or whatever that have got children. Some don't have children, but some have children that finish up in. And sometimes they've fled from domestic violence and they just flee with what they've got to stand up in. Also, they're collecting clothing as well for, you know, the people who've been flooded out and lost everything. So I'm going to go through the wardrobe and get rid of the things I don't absolutely need, you know. Quite a few in there that I'm just being greedy by keeping, because they're not things I really, really wear. So there's a lot of people, a lot less fortunate than me in the world. So, well, not in the world, in my little part of the world at the moment. That's what I'm concentrating on. Call me selfish, call me whatever. But I believe that you look after your own first, and if there's anything left over, you look after somebody else. I get shouted at for that. I get told people in other third world countries are far worse off. But to me, I look after my own first. So my charity hats will go either to the homeless or to somebody who hasn't got a hat that's flooded out. Either way, I'm not really bothered so long as they go to a good home. Anyway, that's what I will be doing from now until you probably see me next. I may do a bit more on my cardigan, but then I may just concentrate. You know, I'm thinking of getting the Addy out to make some hats, because I made the hats with it not last year. Didn't do any. No, this year I didn't do any. I did some last year. You know, to use the oddments out to make scarves or whatever. Hats I have a little bit of difficulty with, because I think the Addy works best on worsted yarn. So while I've got some worsted yarn upstairs, I'm going to have a look through, because when I do them in double knitting, they're just a little bit thin. But when I do the doubled hats, it's not too bad, because it keeps people warm, doesn't it, if I do a doubled hat. I did some in chunky but last year, but they were okay, but they just didn't have the stretch. You know, if we got any guys with like big heads, they would have had no chance of getting them on their heads. But then again, children could wear them, couldn't they? So that's about it for now. I've got my coffee, but not in my Buster mug. I'm still reluctant to use it. I mean, my friend did say, don't use it, use it. I want you to use it, she said, because if it gets broken, I can easily make you another one. So I think that's really, really. Except the one thing is he's got little evil green eyes. My Buster didn't have evil green eyes, but I shall overlook that. And if you want to know what pattern I'm using for the baby cardigan, I don't know whether it's still available. But there are, the one I'm using is Rindy's, but she took the pattern down because so many people were copying it and claiming it as their own. So you won't be able to get this one. But, I mean, I believe that Mikey from the Crochet Crowd did a tutorial on just a plain, you know, cardigan, and there's many around. The one I like doing is called Baby It's Cold Outside, and that fastens to the side, and it's done in a chunky. And on that one, you start at the bottom, you go up and you cast on the sleeves as you're going along. So that's another one, great one for using oddments up, because you can always stripe it, of course. Do whatever you need to do with it. So if you're thinking about what to do and you've got bits and pieces knocking about, I'm sure your local charity, whether it be a baby's hospital, maybe it's your homeless centre, refuge centre for ladies, I'm sure you can find a home for your little oddments if you've got time just to run up a few hats or something. Run up a few mittens, anything you've got, you know, just, you know. Don't send your bits to me. I've got enough. I'm just asking you to be a little bit more thoughtful for the new year. I'm sure there's lots of you do all sorts, because when I put it on my Facebook, people were saying, oh yes, I make shawls for this and I make this for that, and I make, which is all very commendable, and I think you're all wonderful that do things like this. I mean, this year I have been a tad selfish. I have been doing like for myself or for the Etsy shop. So, as I've been given so many lovely gifts over the year, which I do thank you all for, I think it's time for me to give back and pay it forward to someone else. So on that note, I think it's time for me to go. Oh, by the way, if you want to see what things I did make that I couldn't show, you'd have to go to my Facebook page, I'm afraid, my Urban Gypsy page, because I put photos on there. Because as you know, I'm pretty rubbish at putting photos on a video. And I don't like keep troubling poor Zoe to do everything for me. So, but everything I made is on my Urban Gypsy page. You'll find it all on there, Facebook page. All the lovely mugs I've got, and I finish up drinking out of an old one. But it's a big one and I like it. I should tell you all that I may come from the UK, may come from England, but I don't drink tea. Terrible confession for an English lady, isn't it? I don't like tea. You know, we're synonymous all over the world, aren't we, for drinking tea? Afternoon tea, china cups and all that jazz, but I don't like tea. I've tried fruit teas, tried every kind of tea known to man, I think. Maybe I haven't tried the tea that's flavoured with coffee, if there is one. But I'd still rather prefer coffee. Although I haven't got into the realms of exploring coffee. You know, the ones that have got different flavours to them. Because our supermarket's a bit stick in the mud. It doesn't do things like that, really. But I have treated myself to a Christmas present for me. It'll be arriving shortly. It's like a gypsy skirt, 3 tiers,